All right, not a great night for the Padres. I'm actually recording this in the ninth inning because I'm trying to go to sleep. I know this game's over. It's 8-2 in the ninth. Eduardo Nunez was on the mound. Brandon Pfaadt just threw 8 innings, the longest start of his career. Dylan Cease gave up a few homers. One was a grand slam. Padres offense still not great. Sure, there was the Gavin Sheets homer, but it just hasn't been fun to watch tonight. And it's not just tonight either. But Dylan Cease obviously is the main thing that we got to talk about tonight. He continues to be frustrating to watch, inconsistent, and with the trade deadline coming up, it's this month. It's July 9th, and the deadline is end of this month. He's not going to be under contract after this season. He's not coming back in free agency. You wouldn't think. Some team's going to give him a sizable contract and believe in the track record, right? Which is understandable. And there are teams out there that are going to have probably more money to spend on starting pitching, and they're going to go that route. And he may end up pitching great for that team. But with the Padres, it may be coming to an end pretty soon. And by pretty soon, maybe even this month. Is that a possibility? Tonight, before we really get into that discussion, 6 innings, 6 earned runs, 3 home runs allowed. He walked 3 guys, gave up 5 hits. And the only reason why he was pitching 6 innings, he could have been kicked out of this game earlier, but the Padres don't have a day off until the All-Star break, and you don't want to be using your bullpen when you're down, I think, 6-0 at one point in this game. Might as well have, after the homer, the grand slam from Perdomo, and that was right after a mound visit. Usually when Niebla goes out there, has a mound visit, usually things work out pretty well after that, but that was right after, boom, homer. And guess what? It was a meatball. Talk about a meatball. The homer that he gave up to James McCann. That was a meatball. So a little bit of missed spot, I think. Eugenio Suarez got extended on that homer that he hit. I thought Bryce Johnson had a shot there, but just didn't line up that robbery attempt, obviously, as well as Merrill and Tatis did yesterday. But yeah, with Cease, you could say velocity's there, and you could say some of what we see at the beginning of starts, it's encouraging, but I don't care what he's doing at the beginning of starts if he can't continue to do it for 6 innings. You acquire this guy to be a frontline starting pitcher and be a guy that you can trust come postseason time. And right now, I think the Padres would be lying to themselves if they thought that that they'll go trust Dylan Cease, at Dodger Stadium in a must-win playoff game. He had that great start against the Dodgers at Petco earlier this season. But then there was the not great start against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. It's just hard to watch because the talent's there, the velocity, and Dylan Cease is a name. What he has done in his career, you go look at his career, starting with 2022, that's when he was really great. Placed second in the Cy Young, a 6.4 baseball reference WAR, a 2.20 ERA, in 184 innings, made 32 starts. And that's the positive thing about Cease is he makes his start. So when we want to talk about do you trade Cease, do you not, him making starts and him being healthy does count for something. But if you're healthy but you're not performing up to what we need you to do, then there is a limit to how beneficial that actually is to the team. The next year, he made 33 starts. It was a 4.58 ERA, but he was also playing for a very bad White Sox team. And he fixed some things. I think he said he fixed some things mechanically going into this first year with the Padres in 24, where he had a WAR back over 4, 33 starts, which led the National League, just like led the American League in the year before. Almost 190 innings last year. And at 3.47 ERA, you probably want it to be a little bit better, but that's still you're really going to take that. He placed 4th in the Cy Young last year in the National League. 22nd, this is what it says on Baseball Reference, 22nd in the NL MVP. So you'll take that. What you're not going to take from Dylan Cease is a 4.62 ERA, which is what he had going into tonight. And after tonight, it's a 4.88 ERA. That's not what you can accept from Dylan Cease. I'm sorry, you just can't. And he's had some really good starts this season. But how much does that mean if a lot of the time you're not going to be giving your team a great chance to win baseball games. Like when Dylan Cease, when you make a trade for Dylan Cease, you want him not just to keep you in games, but be a big reason why you win the game. And I haven't calculated this before doing this, so I'm just going through his game logs right now. They lost tonight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 losses with Dylan Cease on the mound. And I think 9 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Like, that's not what you want. When Dylan Cease is on the mound, you do not want to be winning baseball games less than 50% of the time that he starts. And he's going 4 1/3 and 4 innings. How many times has he gone less than, like, the bar for Cease, right, should be 6 innings? How many times has he gone less than 6 innings this season? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. So almost half his starts, he's gone less than 6 innings. And for me, a lot of it is the command. You know, the velocity's there. Remember, he struck out 5 consecutive Dodgers to start that outing at Dodger Stadium, but it's about not running out of gas. It's about being able to execute consistently, and he hasn't been able to do that well enough this season. There are other guys we can say that about in this rotation, but the thing is, they're not Dylan Cease. And so, can the Padres still try to go contend? Can they do buy and sell at the deadline? They can try to contend while trading Dylan Cease. Is there a team out there that thinks that they can fix Dylan Cease this season? I bet you there is. But I do think we need to slow our roll if you think that, you know, while you complain about Dylan Cease, but then I see people at the same time like, yep, get him out of here, and you think that you could get like a good package back for Dylan Cease. I wonder what that package would look like, because those teams are watching these Dylan Cease outings just like we are. It's not like they, you know, are blocked from watching Padres games or looking at Baseball Reference or looking at Fangraphs and seeing the same numbers that we are. They're not trapped in 2022, you know? So I do wonder what they would get back. But I think if Darvish can be healthy, you know, the rest of this month, and things are looking good there, you pretty much swap Darvish and Cease. Let's say if they do deal Cease, hopefully you could get back a major league contributor, whether that's another bat, something that another team is in, they have excess of, and they want starting pitching. And then you'd still have question marks with the rotation. They could add a starter, though, before the deadline. And let's say they add a starter, they subtract Cease. So it's Darvish healthy, it's Pivetta healthy, pitching, you know, all-star caliber. And then you've got other guys. Michael King isn't going to – this is where the tough thing is, right? Because if Michael King could come back before August and make some starts, and maybe the Padres could, you know, be more confident in this rotation, he's not going to come back till at least August. And the deadline's end of July. So you got to probably just go get another starting pitcher at least. And then you can go with Vasquez. You can go with Kolek, Berger, Waldron, Kyle Hart, whatever. Run those guys out there. I'm not saying that Padre fans would be super confident. You guys wouldn't be super confident in that. But we're not confident in Dylan Cease right now. How much are the Padres losing if they did trade Dylan Cease? The way that he's pitching right now. I still, part of me is a little hesitant because I am an optimist, and I know that Dylan Cease has the talent to do it and help this team get to the postseason. But again, like, for me, it's not just about getting to the postseason. It's about what can you do once you get to the postseason. And Dylan Cease is not someone that I'm going to be confident in when the postseason comes around. And these regular season starts, I know the D-backs are, you know, top 5 offense, I think, in baseball. But mistakes are mistakes. Like these mistakes that he was making today and he's made this season, I don't think it matters if it's the D-backs or if it's another team. Those guys are probably going to put some good contact on it. So, yeah. The Padres are going to be listening on Dylan Cease before this deadline. I would be pretty surprised if they're not. I think publicly they would obviously say, we love Dylan Cease, we trust Dylan Cease, we think that he's going to play a big part in our success the rest of the season. Look at his track record, right? I'm sure Schilt would, if he had to back up Dylan Cease, um, he'd talk about his track record, right? The no hitter last year. Some of his starts this year. Maybe he'd bring up that Dodgers start, I think at Petco, right, earlier this year, where it was really good. I think he went 7 innings. But it's just not consistent enough. And again, our standards are higher for Dylan Cease than they are for these other guys, that are just getting back into a rotation, or, they're 4A guys, if that makes sense, going up, back and forth. So, yeah, really frustrating. Because I was thinking with Dylan Cease, like, man, the Padres, they're going to get a really great version of Dylan Cease this season. Walkier, pitch really, Blake Snow, right, 2023, Cy Young, and then, it goes into free agency. I know that didn't work out as well as he thought it was going to, but that's not the point. What ends up happening, it's more about what he was doing in his walk here. Like, and again, Cease, this isn't someone that doesn't have the track record of, being a dominant pitcher in this league. So they're going to keep working with him. They're going to keep believing in him, obviously. They're going to keep, grinding away at this as long as he's a Padre. But, yeah, I'd be surprised if they're not going to be. Maybe they'd shop him around, but if they're not shopping him around, they're going to be listening. I assume there's going to be teams that will call AJ Preller and at least ask about Dylan Cease and what would it take. Because teams will believe that they can flip that switch for Dylan Cease and he can go help them, go win a World Series this year. And then even if they don't sign him long term, well, he helped them make a long postseason run, Ideally, that's what we want to have happen with us, with Dylan Cease in a Padres uniform. But I think you got to look out for, the state of this rotation. How much would you be losing if Dylan Cease goes? Can you upgrade this offense? Can you upgrade the catching position? I mean, holy cow. Another one tonight where 5th inning, Martin Maldonado gets pinch hit for by Trenton Brooks, and Elias Diaz comes in the game. And I already put a tweet out about this, but remember when Mike Schilt essentially confirmed that, yeah, we don't care about what the catchers do offensively because they're so great for our pitching staff. The complete games, the great bullpen, starting pitchers, they give Schilt's given a lot of credit to the catchers for that. But then he's pinch hitting for a catcher in the middle of I know Cease wasn't doing great, but in the middle of a starting pitcher's outing, you're going to change the catcher on the pitcher to upgrade the offense for that, not just that at bat, because Brooks did stay in the game, but for that situation, you want the best at bat there, the best bat. And so you change Maldonado, and you have Diaz. He ended up, I believe, 8th in the order with Brooks 9th, but Maldonado was 9th. You pinch hit him. You have Brooks come in to go play left in the 5th inning while your starting pitcher is still in the game. Because where does that happen in Major League Baseball? Where a starting pitcher, like as the plan almost, is what it feels like. He works with 2 catchers during an outing. Maybe it happens all around baseball, and I'm just not paying attention to it, but I don't think that happens. So that just shows the state of this catching situation. It's not good. I still want them to, because what's happening here, how about you have Campy come up here and catch? Now, pitchers may not feel great about Luis Camposano, and they may not like throwing to Luis Camposano. But your manager is pinch hitting the starting catcher in the 5th inning of games so that he can get Trenton Brooks up there at the plate. So how about you suck it up for the rest of this July to see if Campy can help the team? Because it seems like to me he does try. Like he is trying to be better with the pitchers, just trying to be better overall, working his tail off. And so I want them to try it, but it would have already happened. They're not going to do it. it would have already happened. So, yeah, frustrating. And as for the offense today, 2 runs, but that was late. Like, game was over when it was 6-0. In fairness, like, there were balls that were hit hard. Um, I think of the changeup from Pfaadt. Manny drilled it, but it was on a line, and I think it was Alec Thomas in center field. He goes down and, not goes down, but he runs back, makes a nice catch there. Yeah, it was Alec Thomas in center. Gurriel in left made a sliding catch. Like, some of these balls were hit hard, and you can't do anything about it. But there were also some overswinging and just sad Padres offense again. So, yeah, not a fun night. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the final game of this series before the Phillies come to town, which should be an entertaining series. One of those games is on Fox. Like, sure, like, star-studded matchup, but yeah, might not look too good.